Hi there guys, my name is Aaron and you can learn Make and Create together with me in Adobe Photoshop. Today I'm going to show you how you can edit a portrait step by step using Tamara Williams Academy Panel. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and as you can see the Tamara Williams Academy panel. But before we dive into today's video tutorial, in the discount section put ERJ10 to get 10% off in the Williams Academy panel and the brushes and everything that you find in her website. So a huge thanks to Tamara Williams for providing us with a panel and the brushes that we are going to use in today's video tutorial. So here we have the texture. So in the texture section we have 6 different tools for cleaning, and after we are done with the cleaning we are going to proceed with frequency separation, dodge and burn. Here we have some quick selection about highlights, shadows and skin tone. Here we have some color correction about skin tone, eyes, glow, lips, blush, everything else, and some details that include the brushes about iris, catchlight, freckles, brows, eyeliner, lashes and hair. And here we have some skin texture section. For example, when you click here add, we have a bunch of different skin textures to create for the portrait, and after we are done with everything we have the finish. So first thing first, we are going to start with the cleaning. So here we have the first one, which is a texture that says spot healing brush. When we zoom in, for example, in the forehead, the tool that we are going to use with that click, it's the spot healing brush tool. And usually, for example, you can zoom in just like this and start cleaning the portrait. As you can see, the brush is modified for a better experience about the retouch. And here we have the second tool, which is the magic stamp or the healing brush tool. And usually in this tool, we have to click Alt keyboard, hold it and just click to copy, release it and just paint to paste. So this is how this tool works. And this one too is modified for the cleaning about the professional retouch. And the third one is the clone stamp tool, which is soft, which is like, as you can see, the opacity of that is 30% and the flow is 41. And this one works like that. You have to click Alt keyboard and click to copy, release it and just paint to paste. Just like this. And here we have the fourth one, which is clone stamp tool again, but right now it's hard because the opacity of this one is 100 and flow is 89. So this one works just like that as them two before. You have to copy paste near. For example, you need to click Alt keyboard, click to copy, release it and just paint to paste just like this. And the fifth one is a remove tool. This one is my favorite so far about the Adobe Photoshop, and it's really great to see that Tamara Williams included that in the panel. So we have to just paint around the areas that we want to remove. For example, we want to remove the stray hairs around the forehead, just like this. You have to paint it anywhere that you want to clean. And after you're done, you just click here and wait until the tool does the job. Usually it takes some time. For example, when you make too many selection, and as you can see before and after, it's looking really amazing. And the final one is this one that included the generative fill AI in Adobe Photoshop. And as you can see in the layer says paint over areas to edit. So we have to paint. For example, we want to paint it here. I'm just gonna make a quick selection about, for example, what this does, and you can, for example, you can paint it anywhere that you want, because we are going to show you how this one works, just like this. And for example, if you're done with the painting, you click here that says apply. So as you can see, it says paint over areas to edit, and you click apply and you wait for the generative fill of Photoshop does its job. So usually this takes some time. For example, if you paint too much in the portrait, it will take more time, but right now I think that it will do the job real quick. And as you can see, so here we have a before and after, and in the properties we have 3 variations. For example, let me turn on this one. And as I said, here's the first one, the second, the third one. And for example, as you can see here, let me show you the variation 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, it's kind of blurry because the generative fill of AI in Adobe Photoshop works this way. So as you can see here, we have a button here that says enhance the details about that variation. And in case that we want to remove the blurry parts that we did with generative fill of AI, we need to click here enhance, and the enhancing detail will take some time because it will enhance that part, and it will be of course in the texture. It will remove that blurry thing, so we have to wait obviously. And as you can see, let me just zoom in or zoom out just a little, and here we have a before and after, which is looking really great. And here we have another part, so here we have that one on the sides, and as you can see in the eyebrows, it's looking kind of blurry again. And but in general, this tool is really amazing for the cleaning. So I'm gonna delete all of them because I don't like to clean a portrait with a generative fill of AI or something else, because I want to do it manually. So I'm gonna delete all of them. And for example, I'm gonna click here only on the remove tool. I'm gonna zoom in and I will start painting over the areas that I want to clean. And once that we have painted everywhere that we want to clean, we click here and we wait until the removing area in the Adobe Photoshop does its job. So here we are. So here we have a before and after, as you can see, that we have cleaned the portrait. And as you can see, in some parts it's kind of blurry because it used the generative AI. And here we have a before and after, and I think that in general is looking okay. So now that we are done with the cleaning, I'm just going to merge both of them into a single layer. So right click and click here that says merge layers. And now that we are done with the cleaning, it's time for some dodge and burn. So I'm gonna turn on the black and white helping layers. So I'm gonna click here helping layers, and here we have 3 different helping layers. So here we have the dodge and burn help. Here we have the dodge and burn help with black and white, and here we have the solar curve. But right now I'm going to use the dodge and burn with black and white. So I'm going to turn off right now. And for example, here we have the dodge and burn that says global, macro, and 50% gray. So we are going to go with the global because it includes some 4 different layers. And here we have the mild darkening, strong darkening, mild brightening, and strong brightening for dodge and burn. So turn on the helping layers. For example, you can turn on the dodge and burn help too. And here we have the mild brightening. I'm gonna zoom in here and click B for brush, and make sure that you work with a white brush in a black layer mask. So opacity for that one is 100 and flow is 1%. And right now we are using the soft round brush of general brushes in Adobe Photoshop, and you can zoom in and start dodging or increasing the highlights in some parts of the portrait. But in order to do this as a professional as possible, I'm gonna click here on window and click here arrange, and click new window for the name of the file. Click again into the window, click arrange, and choose 2 up vertical. So here we have the single window in 2 windows. I'm just gonna remove that one, and here we have the left window and the right window. So I'm gonna make the left window smaller, just like this, so we don't have to zoom in and zoom out every time that we want to check a before and after. So I'm gonna leave the left window in zoom out, and I'm gonna zoom in the right window, just like this. So if you want to dodge and burn as professional as possible, you can use this method, and it will increase the flow of the dodge and burn. So everything that we do in the right window, it will be shown in the left one. So again, with the brush, make sure that opacity is 100%, flow is 1%, and we start dodging this portrait. As you can see, before and after what's happening into the left window. So as I said, keep an eye in the left window and work in the right one if you want to dodge and burn as professional. So right now, as you can see, I'm increasing the highlights into the portrait, and here we have the mild darkening. So we are going to use that to reduce the highlights, for example, in this part. So here we have a before and after, and as you can see, so we gotta keep working as much as possible for the dodge and burn. So here we have a before and after. Let me just close the left window because as I said, we have the same window. So here's before and here's after. Here's before and here's after. So here's before everything and after. So here we have the dodge and burn only with a mild brightening and mild darkening. And here we have the strong brightening. For example, in the strong brightening, we can use for the bigger parts as this one, for example. Let me just increase the flow by 2%. And you can paint it just like this in the bigger parts of the highlights. So in the strong darkening, we can create some contours around the portrait, for example, around the forehead, and for example, here on the cheeks, just a little under the neck, just like this. Let me just show you what's going on here. So here we have a before and after. And as you can see, that is looking really great. So in the strong brightening, for example, we can use to enhance the highlights on the hair, because we can dodge and burn into the hair too. This will take more time, but for example, if you want to do them as good as possible, you can take your time and dodge and burn the hair too. So in the strong darkening, you can work just like this. So here's before and after of the global of the dodge and burn, and I think that is looking really great. So now that we are done with the dodge and burn, we go back to the Tamara Williams Academy panel, and now it's time to work on the frequency separation. And right now I'm gonna click here on the median because this one is my favorite. Let me just close the dodge and burn, the helping layers. So here we have the medium frequency separation, and here we have the low, and here we have the layer that says correct colors and the high or the texture. And we are going to zoom in, for example, and here we have the correct colors. So in the correct colors, we are going to use the mixer brush. So the settings for the mixer brush that we're going to use right now are by 10% of wet, load by 33, mix by 35, and flow by 33. And make sure that sample all layers is checked, and make sure that high or the texture remains off, because for example, if we turn on and we start working, it will make a mess. So make sure that the high or the texture is off. And right now, for example, in the correct colors, as I said, with a mixer brush, I'm going to mix the skin tones just like this. So here's before and after what's going on here, and make sure that you keep working as much as possible that the portrait needs. So I think that I'm gonna work just a little, because we did a great job with the dodge and burn, so we don't need that much work with the frequency separation. So here's before and after only with the correct colors, and I think that is looking really great. But as you can see, we overdid the process in the highlights. So in order to remove what we have done only in the highlights, I'm going to double click here, and as you can see, the layer style will pop up just like this. And here we have the underlying layer, so I'm going to divide this. So click Alt keyboard and click here and slide this into the left, and as you can see, the highlights are in life again. So here we have a before and after, which is looking really great. So I'm going to show you one more time, and I think that is looking really good. And now that we are done with the correct colors, it's time for the high layer or the texture. And usually in the texture, we can work with the clone stamp tool and make sure that 100% of the opacity and 100% of the flow. We zoom in, and as you can see, we have a soft round general brush, and we need to copy paste as near as possible in the texture. So we have to copy, for example, click Alt keyboard and click to copy, release it, and just paint to paste. So basically you need to copy paste as near as possible in the texture, because for example, if you copy here and you paste it here, as you can see, the texture will look fake, so we don't want that. So here we have a before and after of the figure inspiration, which is not that much, but it's looking really great. So here we have a before and after of everything. And now that we are done with the figure separation, it's time for some color correction. For example, the skin tone, eyes, glow, teeth, blush, and lips. So I'm going to click here on the skin tone and wait until it's done, because as you can see, it will take some time to pick the colors and everything else. So here we have a layer or a group that says paint to unify skin tone here, but we don't want to do that because we have the quick selection that says skin. So as you can see, it will select the skin, and it's selecting the background because the background is in the same color with the skin. So I'm going to use brush with 100% flow and 100% opacity, and I'm going to paint it over there just like this, only on the skin because I don't want to paint on the background. So just like this. So here's before and after. As you can see, here we have that says pick skin tone. So we are going to open that. And for example, we have the tone 1, tone 2, we have tone 3 and tone 4. So I'm going to leave in the tone 3. And here we have the adjust skin tone. For example, if we double click here, we can make some adjustments in the red color or in the yellow. For example, in the yellow, we can play around with that. And as you can see, we can change the skin color. As you can see, a before and after. And here we have the adjust brightness, reds and yellow. So we are going to double click here and the properties will pop up. And here we have the reds. We can control them by sliding this into the left or into the right. So I'm going to leave it as it is. Here you have the yellows. For example, if you want the skin to look kind of darker, you can play around with that. So here we have a before and after, which is looking okay. But I think that, for example, in the skin tone group, we can, for example, we can play around with the opacity of that. So I'm gonna leave it by 45 maybe. So here's before and after, and I think that is looking okay. And now we have the eyes. For example, we can click here, wait until it's done, and here we have the eye, which is eye white. We can zoom in and just paint it here to make the white of the eyes even brighter or smoother, just like this. Make sure that you do this process as good as possible, and make sure that you do that on both of them, just like this. Zoom out, and if you think that is too much, you can always lower the opacity of the group. And here you have the eye color. We can zoom in and just paint it over there to change the color of the eyes. You can do this process if you want to change the color of them, just like this. And for example, you can double click here and move around with the hue if you want to change the color of the eyes, but I'm going to leave them as they are, the original color. And for example, here we have in the details, we have the iris or the catch light. So I'm going to click here on the catch light. And here we have a general or a basic, I would say, of catch light. You can play around with the arrows to change the position of the catch light, just like this. And you can make it smaller or bigger, depends on your preferences. And you can turn around on the other side and make the catch light in the different position and just paint it over there and zoom out. So here we have a before and after, which is looking okay. But for example, in 100%, everything is way too much. So for example, you can leave it about 35, maybe something like that. And as you can see, it's looking really great. Another thing that we have is the iris. So as you can see, we have the iris brush selected. You can play around with the size of that. I'm going to make it smaller and just paint it inside of the eyes. You can do that just like this. And right now I'm gonna turn off the catch light because it's mixing with the iris that we created. As you can see, it's looking really great. So here's before and after of everything. For example, when we click B for brush and right click, and after we have installed the Tamara Williams brushes, we have them here. So here we have the iris, which is a bunch of different iris brushes, and you can select one of them. Depends on that one that you like, but I'm gonna leave them as it is with that one that we created in the beginning, and I think that is looking okay. And now that we are done with the eyes, in the details we have the lashes. I'm gonna click here, and as you can see, a sample of the lashes that we have, for example, but we need to copy the color of the lashes, the original one. So I'm gonna click here and copy that, and click B for brush, and move to the the lashes that we have. So here we have the lashes. Here we have two different. We have the full top, full bottom, full, individual, and pair. So here we have the full top, and make sure that the brush size it will fit the original lashes. And for example, you can check them one by one, just like this. Make sure that size is in proportion with the original one, just like this. And I think that I'm gonna use a different one that fits the lashes of the original portrait, because they are kind of big. So here we have the left and the right, so I'm gonna increase the brush size just like this. And with the arrows you can play around with the position and just paint. Just click to paint, and as you can see, a before and after. And make sure that you choose the same, which is mid 2, and R is for the right. And make sure that you play around with the size of that and with the position of the original lashes, eyelashes, sorry, just like this, and just click to paint. So here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely great. You can zoom in, for example, and check out before and after, but I think that is looking really nice. So I'm gonna click again, and right now I'm gonna choose the full bottom, and I'm gonna select a different one. Let me just find the best one for the portrait, and I think that this one is looking okay. And make sure that you choose the same as you can see, the low 2 L for left, and make sure that you play around with the position and the size, of course. And as you can see, before and after, which is looking absolutely great. Now I'm gonna choose the right one and play around with the size and the position, just like this. And here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely great. But I'm gonna create a layer mask here, because I'm going to remove the lashes from this part. So make sure that you have a black brush and just paint it just like this. So here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely great. And here we have a before and after of everything that we did so far. And now that we are done with the eyes and the lashes, for example, you can play around with the freckles, brows, and eyeliner, the hair, but I'm going to leave them as they are right now, because I'm gonna put some blush into the portrait, and I'm just going to paint on the cheeks with 10% of the opacity, and just paint it over there, just like this. So here we have a before and after. Let me just delete that one, and I think that is looking okay. And now that I am done with the blush, for example, you can click here on the lips, and you can paint inside the lips just like this, or you can create a selection of the lips just like this and paint it here. Or you can even do it as good as possible with a pen tool, but I'm gonna do it with a brush, so I'm just going to paint it over there. Make sure that you have 100% of opacity, 100% of the flow, and you paint it over there. But as I said, if you want a precise way, you can do it with a pen tool. I usually do it with pen tool, but it will take more time to do. So I'm going to do it as quick as possible with a brush, just to show you what's going on here. So here's before and after, which is looking absolutely great, but 100%, as I said, is way too much. So here we have a colorful lips. You can double click here and play around with the colors of the lips. So I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to make it just a little darker. I'm gonna zoom in, and as you can see, with 80% is kind of too much. So I'm gonna go by 25, and I think that I'm going to leave it just a little like 50 maybe. And as you can see, a before and after, which is looking absolutely great. And now that we are done with the lips, we have the teeth. So we click play, we wait, we zoom in, and we paint over there inside that layer mask, just like this. So this one is really great to whiten the teeth and brighten them up. So you have to paint it inside them, just like this. So here's before and after, which is looking absolutely great, but I'm going to decrease the opacity of that one, just like this. I'm going to put the before on top of everything to check a before and after. And now that I am done with the teeth and the lips, here I have the glow, which is really great for the portrait. So I'm gonna click here again, and I'm gonna click here on the highlights. So it will select only the highlights of the portrait, and I'm going to paint them inside the portrait, just like this. So here's before and after, and I think that, oops, sorry, is looking really good. Let me just close that group, and I think that is looking really great. And now that I'm done with the color correction and some details, it's time to add some texture to the portrait. So I'm gonna click here, add. And for example, we have the skin texture highlights, side cheek texture, highlight texture, hand and skin texture, forehead skin, forehead pores, cheeks highlights, forehead pores individual, and cheek pores individual. So I'm gonna click here on the skin texture highlight, click play, and zoom in to paint only in the highlights, just like this. Or you can do it with a quick selection. So we have to quick selection and click on the highlights, and I'm just going to paint it, sorry, on that one, just like this. And now that I'm done, as you can see, the texture is not looking that good, but we need to make some changes. So for example, you can play around with the size of that, and as you can see, it's looking very bad, because we need to decrease the size of them, just like this. I think the 3 is okay. And you can play around with the highlights, just like this, even with the shadows of the texture, or you can play around with the angle of that. And for example, right now is looking okay. You can zoom in, just like this, and check before and after. You see if everything is okay. You can even increase the highlights and the shadows, or you can play around with the angle of the skin texture that we have created. And I think that this is kind of too hard to work. And as you can see, a before and after. And now that we are done with the skin texture highlight, for example, you can add, for example, the side cheek texture. You can just click it here and just paint it over there, just like this, as you can see. Let me just zoom in and paint. So here we have a before and after. You can click here again and play around with the angle of that, just like this, and find the best angle for your portrait. And I think that this one is okay. I'm going to decrease the opacity of this one by 75. Now check a before and after of everything that we have done into the portrait, and I think that is looking okay. And now that we worked on the clean, the dodge and burn, frequency separation, and some color correction, some details. It's time for the finish, so I'm gonna click here on the finish and wait until it's done. So here we have, let me just make a group of them. And here we have everything that we have done, and here we have the finish, which is looking okay, but I'm going to decrease the opacity of this one by 50%. And here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely great. And here we have the before, and here's the after. Here's before and here's after. Let me just zoom in just a little. So here we have before and here's after. Here's before and here's an after. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this long video tutorial, but it's worth it to watch. And if you made it this far, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe if you didn't already, leave some comments down below, let me know if I'm understandable or not. And if you want to get the Tamara Williams Academy panel, in the discount section, make sure that you put ERJ10 to get 10% off in the Williams Academy panel, brushes and everything else that she has in her website. Let me know if you learned something from me or not, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.